the way to do it. And stop having so many shows. Like they're slowing it down. Like that's maybe just the way to do it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't have to be 24 hours. They don't have to turn it right around, but I think that's for me what's happening here is like it's not even like we know it and now it's interesting to watch the dynamics. We know Tom and Ariana were going to have a scene together. We know they're not going to speak. Like we're not really, it's too old. We need to speed it up.
I couldn't agree more. My son just hit the router button on our internet. That's what my husband was coming
Oh,
to let me know. So
Jesus.
I know. I'm sorry.
And you want to who the hell was it you who was telling me the other day about
Children.
having a child? Somebody, it wasn't
Okay.
you. Oh, I know where it was. I went to Elizabeth, Elizabeth Vargas from the OC. You remember
Yes.
her?
Does she want to
Everybody,
have a child?
does it? No, but I went to her house. I'm on her podcast coming up. I went to the OC on Sunday. Remember Elizabeth Vargas, guys, season
Yes.
15? Come on, give her some credit. We love Elizabeth Vargas. I went to her house to record a podcast. She wants to be on her podcast. So I went, and her brother is there, and very great host, Elizabeth Vargas. Love Elizabeth. But her brother is her co-host, and he has children. I don't. So Elizabeth, I think online asked me on the show, like about kids, and I'm like, sweetie, it's not. And her brother was like, listen, I get what you're saying. It was me, but the minute the child is born, and I'm like,
Oh, it's
no, it's not
amazing.
for me. And I'm gonna pass. But so that's my point to your child hitting the router.
It's amazing. I agree with you on the timeline. TV is going to have to change, and the first network that can figure that out, and my guess is they can't figure it out because there's so many cooks in the kitchen still. You know, I think we've seen with YouTubers, they can shoot a reality show and turn it around in a week. They can shoot a pop culture show and turn it around in an hour. But they don't have executive producers and assistant producers and showrunners
Well,
and a boss and a boss's boss
but
and then
what about Mass Singer? I work with Mass Singer, and I get cast offs from that every week from them if I want. If the
well, you're talking two different, you're talking a game show versus a reality show where you've got to establish, people and tie storylines. Masked Singer it's easy. Hey, let's get a group of people, do fabulous costumes, come out, let them do sing a song, three guesses, we're on to the next. I mean,
Well, what you're saying is we film hours and hours and hours of footage. And then when the whole season is over, we look at what we got and then we edit and we craft a story to fit a narrative. So you're basically saying that we need the time, which I agree with you because it's not really reality. Take the word reality out of reality TV. We're going to craft a story, and if it was in real time, I think we would get more real stuff. I think there wouldn't really be an end story. It would be like flip floppers, like people call me, because that's like I'm a real human being. One week I'm mad at Teresa with what I see on the screen. She's a fucking animal, that woman. And the next woman in the week, Melissa's lying like a dog. So there, I am a flip flopper. That's called being a human being. Wouldn't that be interesting? I think if we actually saw Ariana and Lala fighting one week and then it's 7 days later, this is Hollywood, lots of things happen. Now we're friends again. Like, I think it would be more real. I think it'd be more gritty. I think, yeah, we're not going to have all the blah, blah, blah. I mean, maybe people want some real in the reality TV.
I don't know. I think you and I know too much. I think that people they want escapism in these shows. They want easy fluff. I think they want background noise. The genius of now Housewives got a little messy into politics and race issues,
Mhm.
but they've pulled back from that. We've talked about this a lot. They're fighting over cheese. That's what people want. They want you can turn it on. Your kids can be yelling and resetting the router. You haven't missed anything and we're fighting over. They're very easy to follow. Um, I don't know. I cover TLC. I work closely with that network. I mean, their shows are often 2 years behind. I have no idea. I have no idea how their ratings stay up, but they put up monster ratings for shows like Sister Wives and Welcome to Plat. And these shows are a year behind. And we know they do podcast interviews, they reveal things. We know it's so far behind, and yet people still watch. I think they kind of just want an escapism. So I think you and I have this maybe rosy colored, like how are these shows going to survive when yet I think they're surviving in the new ratings form just fine. I
Yeah.
think that they are. Vanderpump Rules this season has enormous. I mean, we've done over 1 million at times,
And Beverly Hills did well. We all knew about Kyle
over
and
a
Mo.
huge, huge. And now I think people are even more aware that they are just dragging this divorce out for ratings and are going to continue it now for buying
Buying
Beverly
Beverly
Hills.
Hills. Well,
And people are still, it's
has
genius. I think it's a Kardashian move.
Mauricio has done interviews where he says, the timing of Housewives, it wasn't fair to judge. We had to pick cameras back up. But he's like, buying Beverly Hills, this was right in the middle of what happened with Kyle. So when we picked cameras back up over here, oh, we were in the middle of filming. So Mauricio is saying, because of the timing, it's understandable why you saw nothing on Housewives. But guess what? Come on and tune into us tomorrow on Netflix, and you'll see just what happens with me and Kyle. Because let me tell you, Mauricio, girlfriend, she's got a lot to say, this Mauricio. Um, you better tread lightly, Mo, because if you fuck us again, we just got fucked by that Richards. She says it's none of our fucking business, Sarah. Miss Richards has told you it is none of your fucking business. If that happens, I'm buying Beverly Hills now, and we have a nothing burger again.
Well,
Do I think do I think buying Beverly Hills might be traders? Maybe not that big, but I watched the first season. I don't know anyone else that did. It didn't get that, but good enough to come back. But I watched it. It wasn't, I mean, I love real estate porn. I bet you it has a spike this season. I bet you look at, there's nothing like, God, you're right. We need to call Lisa Vanderpump. Release, as someone out there, Alex Baskin, you can have my phone. You can release every text between me and Sarah, and you
well,
can
there's good.
create.
I mean, there is good podcast drama. There's a lot of podcast drama. You and I don't participate in a lot of it, but oh my God, you could cast a show 100% about.
Speaking of podcast drama, yesterday on
Ooh,
my show, I had Chef Stu,
there you
and
go.
he has received an cease and desist from Jeff Lewis, his ex-boyfriend. He signed an NDA. Let me tell you something. I want people to sign an NDA if they date me. I love that. I love that idea. Here's your NDA. You want to have drinks? Sign here. So apparently, Chef Stu on my podcast yesterday, we talked about this. Everyone, he signed an NDA with Mr. Lewis, and Chef Stu has his own podcast now. And apparently he has a cease and desist from Mr. Lewis. So we talked about that yesterday.
Well,
I
as you always
I
say,
don't know.
this don't beat Jack. So sue
So
me or don't sue me.
so there, right. I mean, but not everyone reacts the way I do with sees red. But there is some podcast drama. I mean, they're both, podcasters, so to speak. I don't know, Sarah. Tom Sandoval compared himself to Scott Peterson, and Schwartz said, "Ooh." And I loved when he said to Schwartz, like when Schwartz is like, and Tom is like, "Oh, I understand. You need to stop." He's like, "I need to stop talking to you now before the group gets mad at me." He's like, "I'm kidding," and Tom is like, "Are you? Are you really kidding?" This Schwartzy, man, you want a man with no backbone, Sarah. And your next
Oh,
relationship.
Schwartzy is he has a backbone and he's a lover and he has so many things that he's dealing with in his
Oh
private
my
life. Okay,
God.
look, I have to love you and leave you. I got to go to a meeting. Speaking of podcast drama.
I know.
Bye.
And by the way, let's just leave with the Sheena, fuck John Mayer. Okay. All right.
Wait, I want to talk about that. I haven't read that story yet. I
I
haven't heard.
mean, well, she said, let's just say